Hey everybody, how's it going? We are back after my wedding. Everything went really good. Got married. Um, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So we're jumping right back into it with part 3 on Path to Restoration for the early K5HL. And you guys can see I got it all apart. And so we'll talk about what I ran into while I was taking it apart and some different things I got planned for this one. So we'll start off with our really the only hiccup in disassembling this horn. When I started to pull the 1L off, one of the bolts was not wanting to cooperate all too well. I had to play the tighten, loosen, tighten, loosen, tighten, loosen game on it for a while, and this is that. I should probably grab that with the glove here. This horn is very dirty still. So you guys can see this bolt has some thread damage, which really made it a pain in the butt to get out. I was really worried I was going to break this bolt. That's why I kind of had to play the tighten it, loosen it, tighten it, loosen it game for a while. You guys can clearly see if you look across the whole manifold there's really only one bolt hole that's shiny, and it's that one. So we're gonna have to retap that. I'm probably just gonna retap the entire manifold. I'm really hoping I can run a die on this bolt and save it. I want to keep all the original hardware, so I'm really gonna try my best at running a die on this. It's gonna be a pain to work through that, but hopefully I can fix it because I really want to keep all the original hardware on here. I'll probably run a die on every bolt just to get a lot of that soot and grime cleaned up off of the threads, and that's why I'm probably just going to retap the entire manifold just to get any junk that's down in those bolt holes. They'll get all cleaned out really nice. Manifold's in pretty good condition overall, no major issues. And like I showed you guys in previous videos, she is a little bit earlier, 44 120. Even still has the original mounting gasket on it. It's kind of in rough shape. I'll see if I can leave it on there. We'll clean out the inside of the manifold, try and clean all that stuff out on the bottom. We'll make sure all of the air passageways are clean inside really well. Wasn't worried about any of the back cap bolts because I had already had the back caps off, so I knew none of those were going to break on me. Didn't have any trouble with any other bolts. And I even loosened up the diffuser ring bolts just to make sure I wasn't going to have issues with those. One thing that kind of worried me on this one was my other early K5HL. I ended up having 2 bolts break on me. I had one of the diffuser ring bolts break. I think it was in the number 2. I think it was the number 4 bell. One of these lower guys wouldn't come out, and then I ended up it broke, and I had to drill it out and retap it. And then one of the back cap bolts on either the 1 or the 2 ended up breaking on me, so I had to extract that and do all that work. But this one, no broken bolts. Like I said, I was really worried about that when I was really trying to work that one, do some finessing. I was able to get it out without breaking, so no big drilling work. I just have some tap and die work to do. Pretty simple stuff. I know that one's going to kind of fight me a little bit, but I should be able to recut those threads, clean that up really nice. So I'm not too worried about that. And now we can kind of take a little bit better look at the insides of the bells. I even got these bigger diffuser ring bolts loosened up. I did not separate the power chamber from the back of the bell yet. Not too worried about that. Normally if you hit them a little bit, they'll pop right off. And not too worried about damaging that gasket in there either. Even if it did have damage, I have another one that can substitute, but I'm not too worried about any of that. You guys can see the feet of the bells have a lot of buildup from the air, the nasty crap in the air system. Nice little rings there where they were sitting. You guys seen there's definitely kind of that rusty moisture color coming through on the diffuser rings. Nozzles, like we talked about before, the number 3 really has significant wear on it. And now that we actually have the bell off, oh boy, focus does not want to do that. You guys can see just how close that is to the actual bore. Didn't really affect the sound that much from the very first test video. You guys can go back to that and listen to it. In my opinion, it's a pretty solid horn. So I'm probably just going to try and use this 3 as long as I can. Shouldn't really have any more crazy wear throughout its life, though. That was because of the broken diaphragm and creating a different pressure in there. But this horn overall has some nozzle wear on every nozzle. It's an little bit older horn, 2005, so it saw a lot of honk time. The number 2 has a little bit of wear, not too terrible. The number 4 definitely has some wear. That's a really flat nozzle. The edges are kind of sharp, almost. The 1 definitely has some wear on it. The 1L is really not too bad. Just really light wear on that one. That one's actually in pretty good condition. But yeah, the 3 really took a beating over the years. And just for a reference for you guys, and I know I did this in the last video, but now that I have both bells, or that I have that bell freed up, I can get my, let's see if I can find it. Oh, okay, here we go. We can get this one. So this was the 3 that came off of that one right there that I turned into the hybrid. So these 3s are pretty close enough in age to where the nozzles really should have looked the same. Just kind of sorry about that, guys. I'm just trying to get some stuff set around. So there you go. You can really see the difference in the nozzles, and I still am kind of tempted to throw this 3 on there. I'm not 100% sure what I want to do about that yet, just because this is really significant, where the 1 is pretty wore down, but you guys can see there's still a lot of lip there, and the 2, still plenty of lip there. But this 3, it does kind of worry me, just because it is so close. If the diaphragm wanted to, it could possibly rub up against the middle here. I know it wouldn't flex that much, but that's always a possibility if it did flex that much. So I'm not 100% sure what I want to do about that yet. This did sound good. Not worried about the sound quality. I'm just worried about the longevity of the horn. So I don't know. I'm probably going to use new used front diaphragms that aren't cut into, because that's another factor in just how wore down that is. And you guys can see that's how it should be. This bell has pretty average amount of wear on it. The horn that this came off of some honk time, but nothing like that. That is just crazy, because you guys can visually see that. I don't even have to break a measuring tape out for you on that one. I'm not even sure if I have anything that would measure something that small, but probably one of those tools would do it. But so let's see. This is the 1L. You can see it's got the smaller ring because it's got a different nozzle ring, a little bit thinner than the rest of them. The 1 bell, the 2 bell, and then the 3 bell. The 3 bell definitely has a very significant wear mark on the diaphragm. It is definitely, you can definitely feel it, you can even see it. So now this is what I kind of have to think about. If I use these original front diaphragms, that's already cut into, so that's, once that's pressed up against that nozzle ring, it's going to be even closer to the bore, and between that being bit into and this being so close, it's not quite enough to where it would cut that distance in half, but it's definitely kind of creeping up on that. So that's why if I do decide to keep this bell, I'm probably going to use one of these other diaphragms that are not bit into. As much as I want to use these original diaphragms, because they are, they're form fit. I know they sound good, but sometimes when they get pretty wore down, and especially with the if the nozzles weren't so worn down, like if this was closer to like the 1 and 2, I wouldn't even worry about it. But yeah, that's crazy how worn down that is compared to that guy. So a couple of the options I'm kind of going, oh god, sorry. A couple of the options I'm going between is swap the 3s. Either way, I'm probably going to use, I'm going to try and see how some newer diaphragms work on this. If I get the horn together and I end up using this one and I use newer diaphragms and it sounds like crap, then I will just kind of bite the bullet and reuse these, and just hope that I can catch an issue like far in the future. That, I mean, it would be a long time before that ever became a big issue, but hopefully I could catch it as it happened, and so that way no further damage occurs, or if anything else were to happen, like this, the 3 bell already had a broken rear diaphragm, so these diaphragms have definitely seen enough airtime to where they're bit into, they're wore out, but they're still good. I wouldn't call them not good, but I would not stick these on a new horn. I would use these on the bells that they came off of. I wouldn't even try to put them on anything else. So a couple options that I'm kind of fighting with. I am going to, once I get the horn cleaned up and tested, once I determine that the sound test is good on it, put everything back together, clean it up, and I'm gonna repaint it. Probably just stick with the gloss black that it was. I would like to find a green that kind of matches the Heritage 2 green, because I would love to have one of these in Heritage 2 green. So that's one thing. If I can't find a paint that's close enough, or maybe you guys know, let me know in the comments. Do you guys know what paint is close or right there with BNSF Heritage 2 green? If you guys know, let me know. Other than that, if I can't find anything, it'll just stay a nice gloss black. I am going to strip the paint off of all the hardware. So I know I kind of have the hardware laid out for what bells they came off of, but if I strip and clean everything, they're basically going to be brand new bolts, so I'm not going to try and even keep track of what bell they went to because it really doesn't matter. So we will be stripping the paint off of there because some of this paint's already pretty thick and the socket has kind of a hard time fitting over some of those bolt heads. So we'll strip those, and then when the horn gets repainted, those will just get painted in the process. I was never one for painting bolts before because I used to, you know, completely have the horn in pieces. I would paint all the parts individually and then carefully put it back together and pray to God that I didn't screw up the paint in the process. But like I said, you get more of a railroad effect if you paint it as a whole. Some areas don't get hit with the paint as some of the other areas do, which is exactly how a railroad horn is painted. So no matter what, she's going to get repainted. It'll be looking really nice. It'll be sounding nice. I'm going to go through a lot of, once I get these bells cleaned up, I'm going to go through some extensive sound testing. Like I said, I'm going to really try some diaphragms. I'm going to use the original cushion rings, all except for the, the number 3 already had to be replaced because it was chewed into. All the other cushion rings, though, are in great condition. I will be I'll be reusing the back diaphragms. None of the others are broken, and don't really know why the one in the 3 bell is broken. Sometimes it's just use. I know for some reason 3 bells are kind of typical for breaking their front or rear diaphragms. I've had some 4s on these older horns do the same thing. So I mean, it's kind of just luck of the draw if something breaks or whatever. But normally it's just because of a long time of being used, and then there might be a defect in the diaphragm itself that just over time gets exaggerated through the force that it goes through on a daily basis while the horn is blowing. So that's it for that. Couple side notes. So a couple little characteristics that I've found, and it's nothing that's secret or a mystery. A lot of people know about this, but for the people who don't know, this little bit's for you. So if you have a early K5 LLA, okay, hold on. So if you have an early K5 LLA or an early K5HL, so characteristics are non-raised letter bells, 2-piece sand cast 1L. That is actually the very first raised letter, but we still don't really consider that a raised letter yet. The number 1 bell, if it's a true horn, or it's a true early K5HL or K5LLA, it is unmarked. You guys can see that there is no 1 molded on the side of that, and it is not on the other side either. Now we all know raised letter bells switch their lettering and their numbering to this side of the bell. So that's one of the little ways that you can tell you have a genuine and not partsed out early horn. And then a characteristic that I don't know if it's shared with all of them, but these two, so that one, the K5HLA, used to be the early K5HL, I turned it into the hybrid. The 1 bell on that one, or the 1 bell back cap and this 1 bell back cap, both share the same characteristics. And I want to know from you guys in the community, if you have a early K5HL, let me know if your one bell back cap has a offset vent hole on the circle. Both of these horns have this, and it didn't. I didn't notice this one till later. I noticed the one on that one pretty much right away as soon as I got the horn, because I'm like, oh, that's kind of weird, because it, you know, normally they're molded on pretty good. But I'm noticing, and like I said, I want to know from you guys, if you have an early K5HL, check your one bell back cap and let me know if your inlet hole is off center or if any of the others are off center. All of these are all centered, but it's kind of funny how both of the one bells have an off centered hole. And I can even walk over to the other one here. Hopefully I can pick it up. And what's weird is this is off-centered to the other side, to the opposite side of what the other one is. And that is the original back cap for that bell. It is a unmarked one. Other than the, so the 3A that I added, it's same era. It's a former BNSF bell. It came off of a early K5 LLA. Got a part off of it. The two-piece 1L is not original to this particular horn. It's just original to the era of the horn, because this particular one was shopped and had a raised letter 1L put on it. So I really took this one back to how it should be, other than the it being a hybrid. But yeah, so you guys can see, just so you know I'm not fooling you, it has a offset inlet, and all the others are straight on. So I always thought that was kind of interesting how both of these early K5HLs had an offset hole on the one bell back cap, and even weirder that they were offset to different sides. So like I said, if you guys have an early K5HL, check your one bell back cap and let me know if you guys have the offset holes, and then let me know on the paint too if anyone knows a good, easy to work with. I'm not looking for anything too complicated. Spray paint is what I like to use. It's simple, preferably a good quality spray paint. But if you guys know a color that matches the Heritage 2 green, let me know. If not, she'll just be repainted in a nice gloss black. So yeah, guys, there's, I believe, part 3. So hopefully you enjoyed the update on this horn. I'm gonna start working on cleaning up some parts tonight. All the bolts are gonna be soaked in paint thinner. Get those stripped. I'm gonna also start working on retapping the manifold before I clean it, because that's gonna be a mess. We'll work on running a dye, at least on all of the foot bolts. Back cap bolts are pretty good. Those will clean up just as I clean them. So yeah, guys, there is the update on that horn. Back at it after the wedding. Hope everyone enjoyed. Please let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know about your horns. Let me know about paint, whatever you guys want to let me know about. Whatever you think of this project, let me know. Love hearing from you guys. I love replying to you guys. Really appreciate all the support. Love the comments. I read every single comment. I reply. I try to reply to every single comment, because you guys are my powerhouse. Really appreciate it. So till next time, everybody, take care.